The water stopped flowing. Not from your faucet. That's been dry for 3 days. The water in your rainwater tank, the 500-gallon one you installed 5 years ago. It cracked last winter when it hit 8 degrees, and plastic becomes brittle in freeze-thaw cycles. The backup metal tank has rust contamination, orange particulate floating in it. Your commercial filter cartridges expired 18 months ago, and there are no replacements. Now, 72 hours into a municipal shutoff, you are learning the most expensive lesson of your life. The preparedness industry sold. You planned obsolescence wrapped in blue polyethylene. But here's what they didn't tell you. There are 3 technologies that store and purify water permanently. They're not illegal. They're just buried. Today, you're going to learn why. A 2,000-year-old construction method, a biological purification system, and a decentralized water network could make you completely independent of the infrastructure designed to keep you dependent. Every prepper I know has a water storage problem. They don't know it yet, but they do. You've got a 250-gallon IBC tote in the backyard, polyethylene barrels in the garage, a galvanized steel tank hooked to your gutters. You think you're building water security. You're not. You're building a graveyard of containers designed to fail. Here's what the water storage industry doesn't advertise. Every tank you've been told to stockpile has a built-in expiration date. And it's not accidental, it's profitable. Let's start with plastic. IBC totes, HDPE barrels, polyethylene tanks. Lightweight, cheap, easy to install. Sounds perfect, right? Wrong. Every day that plastic sits in sunlight, ultraviolet radiation breaks the polymer chains. The material becomes brittle. After 5 years of UV exposure, you're not looking at a water tank. You're looking at a time bomb, waiting for one freeze-thaw cycle to crack it open. Direct sun, 3 years, maybe less. Even shaded, you've got another problem. Polyethylene is permeable to oxygen. Algae grows inside sealed containers. The water turns green. Bacterial colonies form. You've got a 250-gallon Petri dish, growing organisms that'll give you dysentery. Now, metal tanks, galvanized steel. The old reliable, right? Proven technology, proven to corrode. Galvanized coating is zinc-protecting steel underneath. Every time water contacts that surface, the zinc dissolves. After 7 years, maybe 10, the coating fails. The steel oxidizes. You get rust. Iron oxide contaminates the water. Orange particulate, floating in it. And here's the kicker. These aren't design flaws. They're design features. A plastic tank that lasts 5 years means you're buying a new one every 5 years. A metal tank that corrodes in 7 means you're back at the store in 7. Over 30 years, at $300 to $500 per replacement, you're spending $1,800 to $3,000 on tanks. The industry loves you. You're a repeat customer generating recurring revenue. But if you installed a storage system once and it lasted a century, you're done. Out of the market. No longer a customer. You solved your problem permanently. And in an economy built on subscription models and planned obsolescence, a permanent solution is a threat. The answer isn't buying bigger tanks. The answer was buried under every medieval village in Europe. And it's still working after 800 years. The technology is older than gunpowder. While you're replacing plastic tanks every 5 years, there are water storage systems that have been functioning since the Crusades. They're called cisterns, and they don't fail. A cistern is an underground excavation lined with hydraulic lime mortar or ferrocement. That's it. Dig a hole, compact the earth, seal the walls. The water sits in constant darkness at constant temperature, protected from everything that kills modern tanks. Here's why it works permanently. Underground, there's no UV exposure, no polymer degradation, no brittle walls waiting to crack. The temperature stays stable year-round. even in regions with hard winters. Once you're below the frost line, typically 3 to 4 feet down, the ground doesn't freeze. No freeze-thaw cycling, no thermal stress. The structure just sits there, inert, holding water. The lining material is what makes this immortal. Hydraulic lime mortar is calcium hydroxide mixed with water and aggregate. When you apply it to the cistern walls, something remarkable happens. The lime absorbs carbon dioxide from the air and the water. Calcium hydroxide plus CO2 becomes calcium carbonate. That's limestone. The mortar literally turns to stone, and the process continues for decades. The longer it sits, the harder it gets. The chemistry does something else. Lime mortar is alkaline, typically pH 12 to 13. Bacteria can't survive in that environment. Your water stays clean without chlorine, without filtration, just from the chemical properties of the stone around it. Now, if you want something even tougher, ferrocement. Take chicken wire or expanded metal mesh. Coat it with Portland cement mixed with sand at a 3-to-1 ratio. Build up layers until you've got a shell 2 inches thick. The tensile strength of the wire combined with the compression strength of concrete creates a structure that's virtually indestructible. You can build a 1,000-gallon cistern this way for $300 in materials. The Basilica cistern in Istanbul was built in 532 AD. It's still holding water. That's 1,500 years. Medieval castles across Europe have stone-lined cisterns with capacities over 10,000 gallons. Many are still functional today, not as museum pieces, as working water storage. You can build one yourself. The labor is straightforward. Excavate with a shovel, or rent a small excavator for a weekend. Compact the earth. Apply lime plaster in layers, or build a ferrocement shell with wire and cement. Let it cure. Fill it. Done. The cost for a 1,000-gallon cistern, accounting for materials and basic tools, runs $200 to $500. One time. Compare that to the $1,800 to $3,000 you'll spend over 30 years replacing commercial tanks, and the cistern lasts centuries. Your great-great-grandchildren could use it. This is technology that outlives civilizations. So if underground cisterns last forever and cost less over time, why isn't every homestead using them? 2 reasons, and neither is performance. Reason 1, labor. A cistern requires digging, manual work, skill. If you're building a 1,000-gallon system, you're looking at excavating roughly 150 cubic feet of earth. That's 20 to 40 hours of work, depending on soil conditions and whether you're using hand tools or renting equipment. You need to learn basic masonry or cement work. There are no prefab solutions you can order from Amazon and have installed by Tuesday. But here's the thing. If you're building a homestead, if you're bugging in, if you're done running, that labor is a one-time investment. One weekend. Basic tools. And there are free instructional resources online. Plans, videos, forums with people who've built dozens of these. The knowledge isn't restricted. It's just not advertised. For a portable system where you need to move your water storage, cisterns don't work. But if your water is staying put, if you're anchored to land, the labor cost is irrelevant compared to the permanence you get. That's the honest objection. Now here's the real reason. A cistern that lasts 200 years is a catastrophe for a company that needs to sell you a new tank every 7 years. Think about the business model. You buy a polyethylene tank today for $400. In 5 years, UV degradation makes it brittle. You buy another one. 5 years later, another. Over 30 years, you've purchased 6 tanks. That's $2,400 in revenue. The company loves you. You're a repeat customer. You're reliable income. But if you build a cistern once for $400 in materials, and it lasts 2 centuries, you're done. You're out of the market. You're no longer generating revenue. You solved your problem permanently. And in an economy built on planned obsolescence and subscription models, a permanent solution is a threat. The tank industry needs you to keep buying. They need products that fail, not catastrophically, not immediately, but predictably. 5 years for plastic, 7 for metal. Just long enough that you don't feel scammed, but short enough that you're back in the market before you've built alternative infrastructure. A customer who solves their problem permanently is a customer you lose forever. So the industry doesn't market permanence. They market convenience. Prefab tanks delivered to your door. No digging required. Easy installation. And they never mention that in 7 years you'll be buying another one. They don't advertise the lifetime cost. They show you the purchase price and let you think you're saving money. The cistern isn't buried because it doesn't work. It's buried because it works too well. But here's the problem. You can have 10,000 gallons of stored water, and if it's contaminated, you've got 10,000 gallons of poison. And the filtration systems they're selling you? Same scam, different product. Water storage without purification is just slow poisoning. You can have 1,000 gallons in a perfect cistern, and if pathogens get in, you've got 1,000 gallons of disease waiting to happen. And the filtration industry has been selling you the same subscription scam with different hardware. Let's catalog what they're pushing. Activated carbon cartridges. They adsorb chlorine, volatile organic compounds, some heavy metals. They work for 6 months to 2 years, depending on water quality. Then the carbon saturates. The pores fill. Flow rate drops. You replace the cartridge. Cost, $30 to $80 each. Do the math. Over 10 years, that's $150 to $800 in recurring costs for a single filter. Ceramic filters. Better. They filter down to 0.2 microns, catching most bacteria and protozoa, but they clog with sediment. You scrub them clean, maybe 20 times, then the ceramic degrades. The pores widen. Filtration efficiency drops. Replacement cost? $50 to $120 per filter element. Reverse osmosis membranes, the gold standard for removing dissolved solids and viruses. But here's what happens. Bacteria colonize the membrane surface. This is called biofouling. The biofilm blocks water flow. Pressure drops. The membrane needs replacement every 2 to 3 years. Cost, $100 to $200. And RO systems waste 3 to 5 gallons of water for every gallon purified. In a water scarcity scenario, that's unacceptable. UV sterilizers. They kill pathogens with ultraviolet light. Effective, instant, no chemicals. But the bulb burns out after 9,000 to 12,000 hours. About a year of continuous use. Replacement bulbs, $50 to $100. And if the power grid is down, UV systems are paperweights. You replace the tank subscription with a filter cartridge subscription. Same business model, different product. And here's the critical part. In a grid-down collapse, when supply chains break, replacement parts disappear. Your expensive filtration system becomes useless. You're drinking contaminated water. Cryptosporidium causes severe diarrhea and dehydration. Giardia gives you intestinal agony that can last weeks. E. coli can kill you in 72 hours. Cholera outbreaks in the 1800s killed tens of thousands in cities that lost clean water infrastructure. People die from contaminated water fast. So what's the answer? The filtration technology that biology invented 3 billion years ago. It's called a biosand filter. And once you build it, it purifies water permanently. No cartridges, no membranes, no replacements, ever. A biosand filter is a living water purifier. It's not mechanical, it's biological, and that changes everything. The construction is simple. Take a container, PVC pipe, or concrete, doesn't matter. Fill it with layers. Coarse gravel at the bottom for drainage. Fine gravel above that for support. Then sand. Specifically, sand with particle sizes between 0.15 and 0.35 millimeters. That's the filtration layer. Pour water in the top. It percolates down through the sand, through the gravel, and comes out clean at the bottom. But here's where it gets interesting. After 2 to 3 weeks of use, something forms on the top layer of sand. It's called the Schmutzdecke, German for dirty layer. It looks like a thin brown film, almost slimy, and it's alive. The Schmutzdecke is a biofilm. It's a complex ecosystem of bacteria, protozoa, algae, and microorganisms. They colonize the surface. They feed on organic matter in the water, and they form a living filtration membrane that consumes pathogens. Here's how it works. When contaminated water hits the Schmutzdecke, larger particles and bacteria get trapped in the biofilm. But they don't just sit there. Predatory microorganisms in the layer consume them. Protozoa eat bacteria. Larger organisms break down organic compounds. It's a microscopic food chain operating on the surface of your sand filter. Below the Schmutzdecke, the sand provides physical filtration. Particles larger than the spaces between sand grains get caught. That's everything down to about 10 to 15 microns. Giardia cysts are 8 to 12 microns. Cryptosporidium oocysts are 4 to 6 microns. Most bacteria are 0.5 to 5 microns. The combination of biological and physical filtration removes 98 to 99% of bacteria, 99% of protozoa, and dramatically reduces turbidity. The flow rate is slow, about 12 to 15 liters per hour. That's deliberate. The slow flow gives the biofilm time to work. For a family of 4 needing 40 liters daily, you're looking at 3 to 4 hours of filtering. Set it up in the morning. Have clean water by afternoon. Maintenance is minimal. Every few months, the Schmutzdecke gets too thick, and flow rate drops. You scrape off the top 1 to 2 centimeters of sand. The biofilm is gone, but it reforms in 1 to 2 weeks. The sand underneath is fine. You can wash it, reuse it indefinitely. The sand lasts decades. Cost. A 50-liter biosand filter using a plastic drum, sand, and gravel runs $30 to $80 in materials. 0 recurring costs. No cartridges, no membranes, no replacements. This technology has been deployed in developing countries for over 30 years. Millions of filters operating across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. They work in villages with no infrastructure, no supply chains, no technical support. They just work. This is a water purifier that maintains itself. You can't break it because it's alive. And when you understand that, you realize something uncomfortable. A $50 sand filter that works permanently versus a $300 system requiring $200 in cartridges every 2 years. So if a biosand filter purifies water forever and costs almost nothing, why isn't this in every garage in America? Same pattern, different product. The filter cartridge industry is a multi-billion-dollar market built entirely on replacement sales. Activated carbon cartridges, ceramic elements, RO membranes. Every single one designed with a finite lifespan. You replace them on schedule. The revenue streams are predictable. A bio-sand filter business model? Sell it once. Customer is independent forever. There's no follow-up sale. No proprietary cartridges. No subscription. No authorized dealer network demanding a cut. The plans are open source. You can download construction instructions for free. The materials are commodity goods. Sand, gravel, PVC pipe. You can buy them at any hardware store. There's nothing proprietary to patent, and you can't patent biological processes. The Schmutzdecke is a natural phenomenon. It forms spontaneously. Nobody owns it. So the industry's solution is simple. Don't compete with biosand. Ignore it. Market proprietary systems instead. Emphasize convenience over permanence. Push multi-stage filtration units with brand-name cartridges. Make the replacement schedule feel normal, even responsible. Tell customers it's maintenance, not planned obsolescence. And here's the geographic suppression pattern. Biosand filters get deployed in the developing world. Asia, Africa, Latin America. Aid organizations fund them. NGOs distribute them. They're framed as low-tech solutions for poor countries that can't afford real filtration systems. But in wealthy markets, biosand is virtually unknown. Commercial filter companies advertise heavily. They sponsor outdoor influencers. They partner with prepper channels. The message is clear. Real preparedness requires professional equipment with certified cartridges. The $50 sand filter? That's for villages without infrastructure, not for Americans. A filter that never needs replacement parts is a filter company's nightmare. You're seeing it now. Battery technology that lasts a century. Water storage that lasts 2 millennia. Biological purification that maintains itself indefinitely. Every time a technology actually solves the problem, it gets buried under commercial alternatives designed to keep you dependent. The pattern isn't hidden. It's just quiet. And most people never ask why the best solutions aren't the ones being advertised. You've got permanent storage, permanent purification, you're water independent. But in a collapse, information is survival. And the third technology is the one they fear most, the water mesh. The network nobody controls. You've got permanent storage, permanent purification. You're water independent. But individual independence is fragile. A single cistern can contaminate. A single filter can get damaged. What you need is redundancy. And redundancy at the neighborhood level creates something far more dangerous than individual preparedness. It creates a decentralized water network. Here's how it works. 10 households on your street. Each builds a 1,000-gallon cistern. Each sets up a biosand filter. Instead of operating in isolation, you connect them. Simple PVC pipe running underground. Gravity-fed distribution. One household's rooftop collects rainwater, feeds their cistern, gets filtered, flows to the next property through a 2-inch pipe. That property adds their collection, their storage, their filtration. The water keeps moving. This is mesh topology, no central point of failure. If one cistern contaminates, you isolate it. The network routes around it. The other 9 keep flowing. If one filter clogs, that household takes theirs offline for maintenance. The network compensates. You've built redundancy at the infrastructure level. The principle is ancient. Roman public fountains connected to aqueduct networks. Medieval villages built shared well systems with multiple draw points. If one source failed, you had backups. The knowledge isn't new. It's just been replaced by centralized municipal systems where everything flows from a single treatment plant through a single grid. One point of failure. One valve to shut off an entire region. Modern implementation is straightforward. Elevation provides pressure. Water flows downhill. If you've got one household with a cistern 20 feet higher than the others, gravity does the work. No pumps required. One elevated 500-gallon tank can supply 10 households downslope through nothing but physics. Cost gets divided. Materials run $200 to $500 per household for pipe, fittings, basic valves. That's $2,000 to $5,000 total for 10 homes. Split the cost. Pool the labor. 2 weekends of communal work, and you've built infrastructure that functions independently of municipal systems. Monitoring is simple. Basic flow meters at each connection point. Shared maintenance schedule. If someone's cistern is low, the network adjusts. If someone's filter needs cleaning, they handle it. The system is transparent. Everyone sees the flow. Everyone contributes. And here's why this is dangerous. You can't shut it off. There's no central valve a municipality can close. The water isn't metered. There's no revenue stream to tax. The pipes are underground, harder to sabotage than exposed municipal towers. And during a grid-down collapse, when centralized water systems fail, the mesh keeps operating. You're not a customer anymore. You're a node. And every node makes the network stronger. Water companies lose leverage. They can't cut off service to coerce payment. Municipalities can't use water access as compliance enforcement. A community that controls its own water is a community that can say no. And that's exactly why this model doesn't get promoted. Decentralized infrastructure means decentralized power. 3 technologies, 3 exits from dependence. And now you see the pattern. Let's make it explicit. Look at what we just covered. 3 technologies. Cisterns that last 2,000 years. Biological filters that maintain themselves indefinitely. Decentralized water networks that can't be shut down. And before today, you'd probably never heard of any of these in a mainstream preparedness context. That's not an accident. That's a system. The modern economy isn't built on solving problems. It's built on managing problems. On selling you temporary relief that requires renewal. Cisterns last centuries. Plastic tanks last 5 years. One makes you buy again. One doesn't. Biosand. Filters work permanently. Cartridges need replacement every 2 years. One keeps you dependent. One doesn't. Water mesh networks operate independently. Municipal systems can be shut off with a valve. One gives them control. One doesn't. Every product is designed with dependency built in. Not because it has to be. Because a customer who solves their problem permanently is a customer you lose forever. And in an economy built on subscription models and planned obsolescence, a permanent solution is a threat. Water independence isn't just about hydration. It's political independence. A community that controls its own water can't be coerced through scarcity, can't be punished with shutoffs, can't be leveraged into compliance. And that's exactly why these technologies stay quiet. They're not illegal. They're not restricted. You can build all of this right now. The knowledge is available. The materials are commodity goods. It's just hidden behind commercial noise, behind convenience marketing, behind the noise of 1,000 inferior products screaming for your attention. Now, I want to hear from you. What other water-independent strategies belong on this list? Drop it in the comments, because the more we share, the harder we are to control. Water flows downhill. Gravity doesn't care about profit margins. Physics doesn't take sides.